Hello, I am joined today with Libby Azzarello. Libby, how are you?
Hey, good.
I'm
Doing
so
well,
glad,
thanks.
I'm so glad to have you here. Libby is a real estate agent in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. Libby, how long have you been in Raleigh?
So I've been in Raleigh just over 3 years, about three and a half. My husband and I relocated here from DC. So we kind of picked Raleigh completely off of a map. We had no idea, had never been here, but we've fallen in love with it. It's awesome.
That's great. What inspired the move from DC to just pointing the place on a map?
So we have kind of a funny story. We met in DC and it was just too hectic after a while. I'll talk more about this later, but I worked for the multiple listing service up there and I had a territory. I was driving all the time. Traffic was crazy. And a lot of our friends had started to move. So we got married up in DC and decided to move somewhere a little bit quieter, somewhere in the South because we're both from there. And we decided we would take the other person to visit and plan a weekend and kind of surprise them and pick a different city. So I picked Raleigh and brought my husband here, and he fell in love with it.
Wow.
So I didn't
Cool
even go to
story.
his pick. Yep, it was awesome. And so
You
we actually moved 3 days after our honeymoon. So it was a big
no
adjustment,
kidding.
but
Wow, how fun. So with being in Raleigh, you were working for the multiple listing service there in DC, but did you start your real estate career as far as being a realtor in Raleigh, or was that
I
beforehand?
did.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually grew up in real estate. My dad and grandfathers, and even my great grandfather and uncle are all in some form of real estate. My dad owns a brokerage in Roanoke, Virginia. So I grew up around it. I worked for my uncle, who's a real estate attorney, walked land with my grandfather when I was really little. So I definitely grew up around it and then did kind of a social media and digital route for my early career
Mhm.
and then came back to real estate after I moved to Raleigh. I had a different job and it wasn't the perfect fit, but we're really glad it brought us down here. And I got my license right after we moved here.
That's awesome. And you're on your third year of being a realtor.
Yep. Yep. This is my third year and full time. And it's been awesome so far. It's been kind of a cool way. It was a little bit of a challenge at first to get to know the people and the area and the business. But working for the MLS and growing up in real estate, I had somewhat of a handle on entrepreneurship and real estate. And it's been kind of neat to put my own spin on it and also get to meet people and
Yeah.
learn the city and everything.
Oh, I'm sure that's awesome. So over the course of this 2.5 years or so on your third year, how many people have you been able to help achieve their real estate goals?
So far, I've had 27 closings over the last 3 years. I've got
Huh?
three that are near and dear to my heart that are going to close in the next week or so.
Awesome. Woo woo. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
I know. So exciting. Our market's crazy, but it's kind of a fun challenge to figure out the right place and all the multiple offers and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Speaking of that, with the market being crazy, what advice do you have for a Raleigh buyer right now? If you could give one piece of advice.
That is a great question. The one thing I would say up front is to really know what you want and how badly you want it. So that kind of starts with getting pre-approved. A lot of buyers, especially, or a lot of sellers, especially with the virus, aren't really open to people who aren't pre-approved. They really want to know that buyers are serious when they're coming through their homes and things like that. So definitely getting pre-approved is the first advice. And then once you know really what you want and what your budget is, making it really personal. So that's actually how my husband and I got our house. We wrote a note along with our offer to make it really personal and kind of click with the sellers. So I definitely have kind of some strategies around multiple offer situations. For us, under 300,000 is where we're seeing the most competition.
Sure.
So just kind of figuring out where you can be flexible and what your heart is set on and being really clear on that, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, you got to be ready to go with the multiple offers. When a house comes on the market, you've got to be prepared right now.
Definitely.
Seems
Yep.
like it's pretty. We talk to a lot of agents across the U.S. and it's very similar everywhere as far as it being a seller's market. So Definitely ditto what you say. So Libby, we're gonna pull up your Instagram account. This is a great way for people to follow you, reach out to you. Before I do, one important question: why should a Raleigh buyer or home seller work with you over working with another agent?
That's a great question. I would say creativity is definitely my strong suit. I've had a lot of professional background from working from Disney to the MLS, even being a tour guide on campus. All of these things kind of, I roll it into my buyer and seller experience.
Yeah,
So I try to do things really differently. I have all these systems and things just to keep people from getting overwhelmed. Because there's certain things that are out of our control, especially, when buying and selling and with the virus and the market and everything.
yeah,
I take away the overwhelm. So I've got a system in place. Each week we do something different to make sure they reach their goals. And then I just make it fun because there's a lot of serious stuff happening. A lot of people come into the process thinking it's going to be really hard and really stressful. And I try to erase all of that through systems and just being laid back and laughing about as much as we can.
yeah, yeah. Well, you seem like a fun person, so yeah, that is great. So I am gonna pull up your profile so people can all see it. At home with Libby is her handle. Awesome page right here.
Yep. There's my dog, Dorothy June.
Dorothy June, love it.
Yep. We
Little
wrote about her in our letter to get the house. She's our rescue dog that we met down here. So,
really?
yep. Yep.
Wow.
We put her in our letter and they fell in love with her. And I just encourage people to find things in common with the sellers and things like that to help them stand out too.
That makes sense. Well, here's Libby's profile. I'm sure anyone can DM you if they want, follow you. But mostly, Libby, thanks for hopping on today. I'm glad you shared your story with us, and have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Bye.